Hello out there, everybody. We already have 5 people watching. Hopefully, this lesson will be useful to you. We're going to be going over the Piel Perfect in Biblical Hebrew. We are going through this grammar book, A Grammar for Biblical Hebrew, revised edition by Seow or Seow. We've now gotten to session 19, so hopefully you are following along and have a lot to. Let's see, we'll do it this way. No, I'm not sharing my screen. There you go. How's that? Session 19, which is should be lesson 15. That is a mistake. I don't know how that got in there, but let's fix it. So I don't have much energy. I don't know if you're aware, but this week has been the beginning of Passover, which in Israel is a big deal, and I've been working really hard. So I'm kind of tired, but we're going to push through and cover this as well as we can. We covered already the Kal Perfect, which was like Shamar, Lishmor, to keep. Shamar, he kept. Shamarti, Shamarta, Shamart. Shamar, he kept. Shamra, she kept. Shamarnu, we kept. Shmartem, you, plural. Shmarten, Shamru. That's the Kal. So now we're going to go into, hi, mother. How are you doing out there, Hattie? And if anyone else wants to say hi, you'd be welcome to. We're going to get into how you use the PL, which is, if you know the endings for the Kal, these are suffix tenses, the perfect, the past. If you know the endings for Kal, then you will know the endings for PL because the endings are the same. The only difference is the internal structure of the verb. So we're going to look at that, and we're going to start right now. This is Biblical Hebrew 101 with Jonathan and myself. Jonathan is not with us today. He is out having fun, hopefully. We're going to look first at Shmota Binyanim. Remember that binyan means building, and it's the name that we give to the structure into which verbal roots fall. So when we talk about verbs falling, let's see, nouns you decline because they tend towards something. Verbs you conjugate, in Latin, coniugare. So we're going to conjugate verbs. That's what we're working on. If you know Spanish, then you know that there are certain verbs that end in ar, certain verbs that end in and certain verbs that end in ir. So you have hablar, comer, salir, and they fall into patterns based on those endings. So in Hebrew, we don't really have this. It's not really the same as Spanish, but it's the same concept that certain verbs are expressed in different binyanim, in different structures, different buildings. So these buildings, we have 7 most common, but there are others that appear. Today, please forgive me that I don't have a pen to write with, so I'm going to be writing with my mouse. My pen broke last week. We've gone through the Kal, which is also the Pa'al, Kal, Shamar, right, Halach. And now we're going to look at the Piel. Okay, when we're looking at the structure, notice that this forms a candelabrum, a menorah of sorts. Okay, on the left side we have the active, and on the right side we have the passive. So the Kal is the active normally of the Nifal. The Nifal expresses the passive of the Kal. So Shamar means he kept, and Nishmar means he was kept or was protected or was guarded. So Nifal, Nishmar is the passive. Piel is the active, contrasted with Pual. So like you might say, Diber, he spoke, and Medubar, spoken, passive. Hifil is the active, contrasted to Hufal or Hofal, the passive, and the hitpael is its own thing in the middle. It's not, there's no passive of the hitpael because the hitpael generally takes on some kind of reflexive or reflexive sense, like I did it myself, I did it to myself, something like that. Okay, this is another way of naming the binyanim: katal, kitel, hiktil, and they have their passives. Katal is passive niktal. Kitel is kutal. This is the same as pu'al. These are just using a different root. The kuf tet lamed root. Okay. Wow, I can't write with this mouse. And the passive of hiktil is huktal, and then hitkatel or hitpael by itself. Okay, these are spelled out in Hebrew letters, the same words. Katal, kitel, hiktil with their passives, niktal, kutal, huktal, and then hitkatel in the middle. And then this is the spelling of the same things in Hebrew with the pa'al root. So kal or pa'al has its passive as nif'al, piel has its passive as pu'al, hifil has its passive as hufal, and hitpael is by itself. Okay, so these are just different ways to look at the nomenclature, the naming of the binyanim. Any questions out there in chatland? Right now we have six followers, six viewers. So what's up out there? If you have any questions or difficulty, please stop me and we will take a look at what you have to ask about. All right, so the PL, we are given several uses for the PL in the grammar. First is what he calls factative. That is where you take an adjective and you turn it into a verb, something that's done. Factum in Latin means done, like facere, to do. So tahor, pure, and tiher, he purified or cleansed. Kadosh is holy, and kidesh is made holy or sanctified. This comes out in the Ten Commandments where it says, Shamor et yom Shabbat lekadesho. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, to make it holy. Okay, PL as intensive. This is where you have a root that is expressed in the kal, and the same root is expressed in the PL. It will become intensified. So shavar, he broke, becomes shiber, he shattered. He shattered. So when it says that Moses broke the tablets of the Ten Commandments, it doesn't say Vaishbo, he broke them. It says Vaishaber, he shattered them, meaning that he broke them to pieces. Shalach, he sent, like I sent something in the mail, or I sent messengers, but Shileach, he sent away. So when Moses goes to Pharaoh, he doesn't say, send my people into the desert. He says, send my people away, which is translated as, let my people go. Shalach et ami, send my people away, let them go. Okay. PL as denominative. This is where you take and you create a verb from a noun. Kohen is a noun, and kihen is he served as a priest. Like Kohen is priest, kihen, he acted as priest or served. In modern Hebrew, lechahen, this is the same word, kihen, means to serve, not necessarily just as a priest, but as in any leadership position. So it's called kehuna. Kehuna is the service of an official in leadership. PL as declarative. That means you take an adjective and you declare it the case. So naki means clean or innocent, and lenakot, nika, means he holds someone innocent. And this is also in the Ten Commandments where it says, do not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold innocent him who takes his name in vain. That's from the Ten Commandments. And all right, yenake, he will hold innocent. So the markings for person, number, and gender is the same as in kal. Okay, in the kal we said ani is ti, like shamarti. Ata shamarta. At shamart. Hu shamar. He shamra. אנחנו שמרנו. אתם שמרתם. אתן שמרתן. הם או הן שמרו. Okay, this is the kal. So we're going to see that these endings are identical in the piel, which means learning the piel is easy. So instead of saying shamarti, we're going to double the middle radical. We're going to double whatever's in the middle with dagesh. And instead of we're going to say e-a. So we're not going to say shamarti or davarti. We're going to say dibarti. Dibarti. The only exception to this ea is the third masculine singular that it's named after. Diber. Diber. Diber is he spoke. Dibarti, I spoke. Dibarti. Dibarta. You spoke. You have spoken. Dibarta. So you would say, thus have you spoken, O Lord. Ken dibarta Adonai. Ken dibarta Adonai, or ko dibarta. Thus have you spoken. Dibart. If I say to my mother, who's in the audience, she's there in the live audience. Nobody's really talking out there, but my mom is there. I could say to her, At dibart iti etmol. You spoke with me yesterday. At dibart iti etmol. You spoke with me yesterday. Dibart. Who diber? He spoke. Who diber? Adonai diber miSinai. God spoke from Sinai, from Mount Sinai. Adonai diber miSinai. Okay. We had a prophetess named, or a judge named Deborah. Deborah dibra. Dibra. So these are the same endings as we had in the kal. Ti, tat, nothing, and a. Okay, now dibarnu. Anachnu dibarnu. We have spoken. We have spoken. Dibarnu. Dibartem. Dibartem. Atem dibartem kol halayla. You were speaking, or you spoke all night. Atem dibartem kol halayla. And if you're speaking to a group of women, you say aten dibarten kol halayla. You spoke all night, speaking to women. Dibarten. Hem or hen, hem dibru. Hem dibru kol halayla. They spoke all night. Hem dibru kol halayla. And the participle in everything outside of the kal and nifal. The kal and nifal. Everything outside of that takes a participle with a mem prefix. Mem, the mem prefix, m. Okay, so if diber is he spoke, okay, we're going to shift it outside of the perfect, outside of the past tense, the perfect. Instead of the internal vowel being e, it becomes a throughout the piel, all the time. So instead of mediber, we say medaber. Medaber, speaking. Medaberet, speaking. For feminine singular. Masculine plural, medabrim. Medabrim. Feminine plural, medabrot. Medabrot. Again, we're using the Israeli pronunciation, means we if we have a consonant cluster that we can produce, we do. If you're going according to the traditional grammar, it would say medaberot, medaberot, medaberim. because the shva is vocal. Also in diberu, diberu and dibera. But we just, in Israel, just make it a consonant cluster and say dibra, dibru, medabrim, medabrot. Okay, that's your first example. Essentially, the root davar, davar, as a verb, falls into the piel. Okay, it falls into the piel. Why does it fall into the piel? No one knows. There's no, if somebody tries to tell you that it does it because it's intensive, no, it just means speaking. It's expressed. That root finds expression in the piel. And it normally does not find expression in the kal. There are some exceptions where we say dover and doveret as a speaker of a language. Ani dover ivrit, ani dover anglit, sfat em. I am a speaker of English, an English speaker, dover. Dover could also be someone who's like a speaker for a political position, like the president has an official spokesperson, dover or doveret. But normally, davar does not find expression in the kal. It skips the kal and goes straight into the piel. Okay, why does it do that? I don't know. But I will say that normally when you bring foreign words into Hebrew, you bring a foreign word in, it will find expression in the piel. Piel is natural for adopting roots from other languages. So let's look at the next word. Okay, the normal, we said like diber, right? That's the normal pattern, but we would expect it to be, I'm going to just put boxes here. This is the normal pattern for PL, third masculine singular. It's going to be in the past tense E with chirik, then dagesh in the middle radical, and then tsere under this, tsere. But there are other patterns, okay? So my phone is answering. It thinks when I said tsere, I was saying siri. So it says, but with diber, we saw in the previous slide that instead of tsere, it's segol, diber. When it's in pause, it is tsere. But we're going to see in this one that instead of tsere, we have patach. Instead of shilem, which is what we say in modern Hebrew, hu shilem et hacheshbon. He paid the bill, shilem, with tsere in the normal pattern. But in the Bible, we don't find shilem, we find shilam. Shilam. Why is it shilam? I don't know. I don't see a reason. But shilam is the form. We're going to see it on other, where instead of having the a in the second syllable, it has ah throughout. We're going to look at another one in a minute. Okay, so shilem or shilam means he paid, he repaid, he compensated, something like this, because the idea is you owe something and you make it whole. Shalom, shalem, whole, complete. So we go into the past with I. Shilamti. Should be natural to you now to know that ti means I did it. Shilamti. You paid. If you say to a man, you say shilamta. You paid. You have paid. So if you tell them lo shilamta, you're saying you haven't paid. Lo shilamta. Okay, this is what you say to somebody who gets up and they leave the table to leave the restaurant, and you're like, slicha, excuse me, lo shilamta. You haven't paid. And then you could say to a woman, slicha, lo shilamt. Lo shilamt. Shilamt. And she would say, shilamti. Shilamti. I have paid. Okay. He has paid. Shilam. And she has paid. Notice the dagesh drops out because of skinim levi. Does anyone need a review of what skinim levi is? Shilma. Shilma. Hu shilam He shilma. Does anyone need a review of what Skinnem Levy means? If you do, make a comment and we'll go over it quickly. Shilamnu, we paid, or we made whole, we compensated, repaid, whatever. Shilamtem, you have atem, shilamtem, aten, shilamten, vehem, shilmu. Again with Skinnem Levy, dropping out the doubling dagesh after, when it's followed by shvana. Sorry, the vocal shva. Okay, all right. Shilamti, shilamta, shilamt, shilam, shilma, shilamnu, shilamtem, shilamten, shilmu. The participle, which we use in the present tense in modern Hebrew, mishalem, mishalemet, mishalemim, mishalemot. You might find it without the dagesh in the lamed because of Skinnem Levy. You can always find that Skinnem Levy makes things unpredictable. You don't know if there's going to be a dagesh there or not, and you need to check it. Okay, just like shilam, here we have mihar. Mihar. Okay, in modern Hebrew we say miher, because in modern Hebrew we kind of like standardize everything, make it conform more to the pattern. So miher, we say he hurried. Mihar in the Bible. Why is there no dagesh in the hay? No dagesh in the hay. Not getting an answer because it is guttural. Remember, the gutturals are aleph, hey, chet, ein, and resh behaves like a guttural. So mihar means he hurried, and you don't see dagesh. This represents virtual doubling. It's as if the hey were doubled, therefore the e is considered within a closed syllable, but it's not really. Okay? Miharti, I hurried. Miharti. Ani miharti. Ata miharta. At mihart. Hu mihar. He mihara. Okay, the guttural doesn't want the vocal shva, so it takes a composite shva instead. Mihara. He hurried. Miharnu, we hurried. Mihartem, miharten, miharu. Miharu, they hurried. Still not getting much feedback over in the chat land, but at least we've got 6 people watching. I don't know. Okay, and as far as the participle is concerned, again, we have virtual doubling. And instead of having dagesh in hey, it's dropped. So memaher, he hurries. Memaheret, memaharim, memaharot. Should be pretty standard stuff, I think, if you've been following along until now. This one's a bit different. This one has an aleph in the third position of the root. Okay, so instead of milah, which we see with a hey, we see mileh. Mileh. He filled, like he filled something. Mileh. Mileti. Okay, the aleph is quiescent. It's as if the aleph were not there. Mileti. See, the taf is soft with no dagesh because the aleph is not counted as a consonant. Mileta, ata mileta, at milet. Notice here the dagesh is missing, and therefore also the shva underneath it is missing because the taf is not doubled because of the, or it's not doubled. It's not hard because of the aleph. Mile and mila'ah. Mila'ah. The lamed is missing the dagesh because of Skinnem Levy that nobody's asking about. Mila'ah. Mila'ah. She filled. Milenu, we filled. Miletem, mileten, and mil'u. Mil'u. Okay, the present the participle, memale. That's simple enough. We have an issue with memala'a. Two issues. Number one is that the book says memalet. Okay, memalet. It makes sense that it would be memalet, but speakers of Hebrew say memala'a instead of memalet. The book has different forms than what we normally. Because it doesn't exist in the Hebrew Bible, it doesn't matter. But speakers of Hebrew don't say memalet as a general rule. The Academy came down on memala'ah. So the feminine singular is not found in the Bible. The plural forms are always found without dagesh in the Bible, memal'im, memal'ot. But for whatever reason, the grammar book has it with dagesh. Modern Hebrew uses it with dagesh, but the grammar book should present it without because it doesn't exist with dagesh in the participle in the plural in the Hebrew Bible, which should be significant for that book, you think? All right. This word is me'en. Notice here the aleph rejects dagesh, and the EA pattern becomes AA pattern because of compensatory lengthening. This verb appears with the Joseph story whenever Potiphar's wife is trying to convince him to do things with her, inappropriate things. And it says that Joseph refused. And the refused is, it bears this really great accent in the text called shalshelet. And it says, the verb is me'en, but it falls into the yiktol form, vayima'en. Vayima'en, and it says, vayima'en. It's got this long, drawn-out accent for singing, and it would give you the idea that he really refused, like he slapped her with a big refusal. So me'en, he refused. I refused. Ani me'anti. Me'anti. So the me, because the compensatory lengthening, and anti would be normal. Notice that the noon does not assimilate into the ending like natan, natati. Me'anti, me'anta. Ata me'anta. You refused. Ata me'anta. At me'ant. You refused. At me'ant. Hu me'en. He me'ana. He me'ana. Notice that guttural again takes a composite shva. Me'annu, okay, me'annu, we refused. Me'annu. Contrast that with the last form that an unpointed text looks the same. Me'anu, me'anu, they refused. They refused, okay? And then in the middle, me'antem, me'anten. All right. I mark the me at the beginning of the distant syllable as staying full because Meteg says, I know. Yeah, Jonathan would laugh if he were here, but he's not. All right, so the participle, in the participle, we've got mema'en. Mema'en, notice the compensatory lengthening there with the kamatz instead of the patach. Mema'en, mema'enet, mema'enet, refusing. Mema'anim, mema'anot. Okay, that's what we got going on. I hope you are following along well enough. This is a lot of information, but that's what studying this grammar is. If we have a third hey, this is not real. This is really third yod. So the root is gimel, lamed, yod. That's the root. Okay, third hey is really third yod. So this is gila, meaning he revealed or uncovered. Okay, gila. Ani giliti, I found out, I revealed, I uncovered, giliti. Ata gilita, notice that the vowel causes the tav not to take dagesh, just like with the aleph. Gilita, ta gilita. At gilit, you discovered, you found out. Hu gila, he gilta. אנחנו גילינו, אתם גיליתם, אתן גיליתן, והם גילו. הם גילו. Okay, that's the word legalot, gala. Okay, gala means he went into exile, and gila means he revealed or uncovered. Sometimes gala in the kal, the word gala in the kal, sometimes does take the meaning of uncovered. Okay, gala, but normally it's in the piel, gila. Megale, megale, megala, megalim, megalot. Ani lo megale lachem. I am not uncovering for you or revealing to you ma ani rotse. I'm not revealing to you what I want. Ani lo megale lachem. Megale. Okay, uncover, reveal. Okay, this is an issue. That's the extent. If you're on, please hit the like button. My mama says, thank you so much. If you are on, please hit the like button. Really, like, if you enjoy our Hebrew lessons, why not cause YouTube to show them to other people? I want people to learn Hebrew. I think you do too. And if you hit like, you subscribe, you let people know, then they can learn Hebrew with us. This is what we see in Seow's grammar, that we have the word bakash, and that bakash appears in the piel and means to seek. So that's what he says, bakash, P, to seek. And he tells us, what's the next one? Barach, piel, to bless. And gadal, to grow up or become great, means if there's nothing in front of it, it means that it's kal. And in the piel means to bring up, to raise, to make great. I absolutely detest how he organizes his vocabulary. I hate it. Hate it. It's awful, awful, awful. Why? Because you need to learn that the word is bikesh. Bikesh means he sought. It is not bakash. It is bikesh. You need to learn it in the piel, not in the call and say, oh, it's bakash and then it's bikesh. Like you can't learn a word that way. You need to feel how the word is expressed. Bikesh. Bikesh. He sought. Bikesh. Similarly, not barach, but berach. Berach. The e-abe is e-a, like shilam, and the e becomes a for compensatory lengthening because the resh rejects the dagesh. Berach means he blessed. Berach. In modern Hebrew, we say berech. So whoever knows Jewish prayer and they pray for somebody who's sick, we say Mi sheberach avotenu, the one who blessed our fathers. Mi sheberach avotenu, makor habracha limotenu. So this is berach, not barach in the piel. Don't learn barach in the piel. Learn berach in the actual form that it's used. Not gadol in the piel, but gidel. 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 How can we find these forms if we don't know these forms? Okay, one way to do it, if you have logos, okay, we were just reading in 1 Samuel chapter 19. So you can hit search. Okay. This is for people who have logos. I don't know about other things. So let's say diber. Okay. We look for the root. Dalet bet resh. Okay. When this pops up, eventually, okay, we're going to look for the one that means to speak. Okay, there's speak. Click on that. And then we're going to tell it at, because at lets us go into a list, and we tell it it's a verb. And we want the Piel perfect. Okay, if we want to be specific, we can say third masculine singular, hit enter, and it gives us the form diber, diber, diber. In pause at the end of a verse, diber with sere. Diber, 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 we see that that's the form of the verb. If we look at instead the word for he paid, okay, it's from the root shalem, and it's to requite or fulfill, restore, or finish, okay, to pay back. Okay, so we go at verb, that's V, PL, perfect, third masculine singular, enter. It says shilam, 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 shilam. Okay, this is how we can be certain. So if we want, for example, again, berech or berach, we look at the root, not ni, but, and not kneel, but to bless. To bless. Okay, so we hit at verb, piel, perfect, third masculine singular, enter. Berach, berach, beracho, he blessed him. Beracho, he blessed him. Berach, berach, berach. We see the form. It's awful, terrible. It's a travesty that they say that you learn barach, and then you're just supposed to guess how you say it in the PL. Barach, PL, to bless. This is nasty. This is the worst part of this grammar book, and it's the worst part of most Hebrew grammar books. So this is really bad. You don't need to learn, like, to learn gadal, this is kal, it means he grew up. Gadal, he became great. He grew up. Gidel means he made someone grow up. He raised him. He made him great. And to make something big, you say higdil in the hifil. So we learn gadal, gidel, and higdil. We also learn the hit pile of that root. Yit gadel. Yit gadel is like we say in the praying, may God be great. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shmei rabbah. May God be great. Okay, so this is a correction of the vocabulary from Seow's book, where I put them into the PL. So PL, to seek, bikesh, bikesh, berach, he blessed. He grew up, gadal. He brought up, gidel. He spoke, diber. He praised, hillel. Not halal. Hillel, hillel, he praised. Not so kala means it was finished. It's passive almost. It's but to do it, to make it finish, is kila. Kala, kila. Kila is the PL. Kisa, he covered. Kisa. Kisiti, I covered. Hu kisa. Ata kisita. The same is happening with this one. Kiliti, I finished. Kiliti, kilita. Okay? This is probably the thing I hate most about almost all biblical grammars, that they don't present words as words. They present them as roots that you need to somehow magically figure out how to put into the PL and the hifil and all of these things. You shouldn't need to magically try to figure it out. The grammar should give you the word as a real word that exists in the language, because it's a language that's spoken. Kisa, kila, kala, hillel. And it's not good for them to tell you hallel in the PL, because that doesn't mean anything. There's no structure to it. He refused, me'en, me'en. He hurried, mihar, mihar. He counted or wrote something like a scribe, safar. He counted 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Safar. Safarti, I counted. Safarti ad eser, I counted to 10. Siparti, siper, to recount. It's related to the word safar, to count, but it's like the intensive. To recount means to go through one by one, to give a tale, to tell a story. Siper, safar, siper, siper. When we talk about the story of King David, we talk about his sipur. Sipur is from siper, to tell. Okay, he commanded, siva, siva, ani tziviti. Like we see many, many times in the Bible that God says, you shall do what I have commanded you. Tziviti, tziviti. I have commanded. It's in the Piel. Okay, kadosh or kadash means to be holy. Okay, to become, to make something holy. Piel kidesh, kidesh. And then to serve is not sharat in the Piel, but sheret. Sheret with the compensatory lengthening. Sheret. People say this today also. Where did you serve in the army? Efo shirateta. Efo shirateta. אני שירתתי, אני לא שירתתי בצבא. I did not, because I came to Israel when I was 27. But we should look at this verb real quick, שירתתי, shiret, because it might be that in the Bible the taf is not pronounced like shiratati, but it might be shirati. Like in the Bible, I died is matti, but in modern Hebrew we say matiti, I died. Like if you're playing a video game, you'd say, wow, matiti elef pam, I died 1,000 times. So let's look at this word specifically, shirat. Shirat is the root, to serve, and it's going to be in the Piel. So let's go to verb Piel. And then we're just going to look at all the perfect forms, because maybe in the singular, because we want to see how it plays out. Shiret, he did it, he did it. There is no first person. That is annoying. See if it has shiratnu. The only form that you apparently need to learn of this verb is shiret. Shirtu, they served. Shirtu and shiret. So there is no biblical form to argue with the modern form shiratati, shiratata. If there were a different form in the Bible, then we would turn to something else. I wonder if anybody knows where Elena is. She's not here with us recently, like last week and this week. Hope she comes back soon. This is from exercise 15, from the book. Okay, number 1 in exercise 15 says, Chatanu ki dibarnu v'Adonai uvach. Chatanu ki dibarnu v'Adonai uvach. So chatanu is kal, we have sinned, or we've made a mistake, we've sinned. Because ki dibarnu, this is Piel, we have spoken. We have spoken, or we spoke. Ba'Adonai is against the Lord. We have spoken against the Lord. We've spoken against him and against you. I don't know who it's talking about. Maybe it's Moses. We have sinned because we've spoken against the Lord and against you. Notice the bach at the end is with ach instead of becha. The difference is that this would be at the end of a verse or at the logical break where you go into pause. Okay, this I adjusted to different persons and numbers. So we're going to go through it a little bit different. Instead of chatanu, I wrote chatu. Ki dibarnu, I'm going to say ki dibru v'Adonai uveMoshe. Okay, chatu ki dibru v'Adonai uveMoshe. They sinned because they spoke against the Lord and against Moses. So I'm just changing the person here. Chatanu ki dibarnu v'Adonai uvach. Chat'u ki dibru v'Adonai uveMoshe. Dibru. dibarno, dibru. This is the piel. It's just a root finding expression in a different pattern. Okay. Chata, he sinned. This is first person, the third person masculine singular, 3ms. Chata, ki diber badonai uvihonatan. Okay. He sinned because he spoke against the Lord and against Jonathan. Notice badonai with a beck that's hard because it's not preceded by a vowel. Okay, in Dibru Vadonai, they spoke against the Lord, but Diber Badonai. Okay, he sinned because he spoke against the Lord and against Jonathan. Yehonatan becomes Bihonatan Uvihonatan. Number 5 in the same exercise set says, Ka'asher tziva Adonai otam ken asu. Ka'asher, according to which. Ka'asher tziva, he commanded. Ka'asher tziva Adonai otam, according to which he commanded the Lord them. That is, just as the Lord commanded them, ken asu, thus they did. In other words, they did exactly as the Lord commanded them. And so, according to which the Lord commanded them, thus they did. Okay, let's look at another person, whatever. Ka'asher tziviti oto ken asa. Ka'asher tziviti oto ken asa. Just as I commanded him, thus he did. Okay, he did just as I commanded him. Ka'asher tziviti oto. Tziviti is I did it. Notice the hey, the third hey is yod. Tziviti oto ken asa. Thus he did. Ka'asher tziva Adonai etchem, you, plural, etchem, ken asitem. Just as the Lord commanded you, plural, thus you did. Ka'asher tziva Adonai etchem, ken asitem. And finally, another change. Ka'asher tziva Adonai ota, ken asta. Ka'asher tziva Adonai ota, ken asta. Just as the Lord commanded her, thus she did. Okay, we've got the feminine going on. Ka'asher tziva Adonai ota, ken asta. All right, so the masculine, Ka'asher tziviti oto, ken asa, just as I commanded him, he did. Ka'asher tziva Adonai ota, ken asta. I think this should give some indication that the piel is just a pattern. It's just a pattern into which a root falls and finds expression. Okay, it's a way of using a root to create a verb. Okay, on Thursday, let's see how we're doing. We've got, okay, we're good. On Thursday, that is April the 17th, that's this week, Thursday at 6:30 p.m., we're going to review lesson 14. Okay, 14 is what we did last week. It's not the kal, it is the, it's not the piel, it's the kal of weak roots. That is roots with vav, hey, yod, and so on, especially hollow verbs. That's a fun one. Okay, so we're looking at the homework for lesson 14. Sorry I wasn't there last week. Passover has been very heavy on me. Not because I take it personally, but because I've been working a lot. Okay, so on Monday next week, we're going to be doing reading in Hebrew of David's story at 5 p.m. 6 p.m. we're doing lesson 16 from this book, which gets us into binyan hif'il. Hif'il is the normally the causative stem. So you cause someone to do something. So hu shama, he hears, he heard, ani hishmati lo, or hishmati oto, I caused him to hear. I played music for him. Hishmati lo shir, I made him hear a song. I made it heard to him. Hichnasti, I made them go in. Heveti, I brought them. Okay, so it's Hifil. It's going to be a fun one. Probably my favorite binyan is Hifil. So we'll see. And then the Thursday after that, we will be reviewing the homework from this lesson, lesson 15. So you have a week and 3 days to accomplish the homework for this lesson that we just went over. I think that's plenty of time for you to get it done. And we will be reading together on Monday and covering 14 on Thursday. How are you guys? It's really weird for me to be on here and not have any other person. But I guess that's the way of the world. So I will close this and just be here with you. How are ya? Any questions? I don't have anything to give to you beyond what I've already given. I've given you my all for today. And if there are no questions, then I guess we can say Toda. What do you guys think? This is Toda Rabba, which means thank you very much. Toda Rabba. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you learned something, and I hope that it pushes you in the direction of more Hebrew learning. All right, we'll see you guys next week, or on Thursday this week, and the next week for this grammar session again. Bye, guys.